Happy Wednesday night. Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you as always for being with us. We appreciate you. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to WDWNT TV and please hit like on this video because there's nothing I like more than sitting and talking to my good friend, Patrick Hackett. What's going on?
What's up, Rob? How you
Oh, we're
doing?
not. Are we doing? Okay. I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you. This is your first deep back in a while because you've been on injured
Mhm.
reserve, came back to
Yep.
Park Center last week, and now you're ready to get back into it. And you, sir, I'm going to remind you all the way through this review that you, sir, are the one who
Ah.
picked this movie. And we're talking
Uh,
about the Blue Sky Studios mega classic hit,
oh God.
Ferdinand. So tell the
Yeah.
people why you chose this movie, my friend.
Well, you have been going on for a long time about wanting to do some of the Blue Sky movies, and I honestly haven't watched a lot of them in a really long time. I mean, probably since the Ice Age. I might have run into Rio somewhere. So I determined, since I am a John Cena fan. Got Eagly over here from Peacemaker, not for a Disney audience, but still a good show in its own right. I wanted to see what this Bull movie was about, and whew, do I have regrets? So many
Well, I
regrets.
mean, don't play your cards too early, man. I mean, there's stuff
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on here
yeah.
still. So you picked it because it was a wrestler movie, and we've talked
I
about
did.
this in the past. You like to have a theme. I get
Yeah, I
that. I
like themes.
understand that.
Mhm.
Uh, but you know what? The Blue Sky movies, there were 13 of them. This was the second to the last one that came out.
I thought it was the
And
last.
no, no, there was one that there
The
was
pigeon one.
right, the Tom Holland, Will Smith classic movie Spies in Disguise. So we could have gone that route if you wanted to do that. But they started with Ice Age, then Robots, then they did a bunch of Ice Age movies. Horton, Here's a Who. You mentioned Rio, and then Epic, and then the Peanuts movie, which I'd still like to review at some point. And then Ferdinand was 12, and Spies in Disguise was 13. That movie came out
But the
December.
purchase. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can say it.
This is the last one before the Disney purchase. So Disney purchased it, and then Spies in Disguise came out. But it
Right.
was that did not have the 20th Century Fox logo, if I'm correct. Spies in Disguise. Not positive.
It's
I
still
have
listed
not
as.
watched it.
Oh, I watched it. It was better than this. Um,
Extraordinarily low bar to clear.
so yeah, Spies in Disguise came out on Christmas Day 2019. The merger the buyout where Disney bought Fox and that was in March of 2019, and then in November of 2019 is when Disney Plus launched, and Ferdinand was on there. So I've always wanted to kind of watch it. I haven't seen it. When my kids were little, we would watch animated movies, and I've seen a ridiculous amount of them. And I think it was around the time that Norm of the North came out. They went no more. We're not just
It's a
going because
wrap.
it's yeah, we're not going just because it's an animated movie. Turbo, they threw their hands up with that
Uh,
one too.
I
They
have
said
a
no, thank
really
you.
soft spot in my heart for Turbo. Also, another one, G-Force. That stupid gerbil movie. I don't know why. Something tickled me with it.
But that's a Disney, and that's stopped. I mean,
Yeah.
that's CGI. But yeah,
Yeah.
in real world. Yeah, so I wanted to do one of these and review one of these. And Ferdinand's a book I actually had as a kid.
Yeah.
It was the one with the orange and the little flowers all over it. And it was like, what, 10, 12 pages or something like that? And here they
Yep.
go and make an almost 2 hour movie. When you said watch this, I sat down with it and it was like, oh my God, this is almost 2 hours. I'm used to like an 88 minute runtime on an animated movie. And this
Yeah.
one was like 2 hours. And so you took a movie that was based on a book of very few pages, and you made this insanely long movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it shows. It really does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Mm.
but you mentioned this to me today. We were texting back and forth, and you did share some of your comments, which I'm sure you'll share during the show. But you shared, you were like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that Disney did a
Yeah.
Ferdinand. That was 1938, and you went back and watched that, right?"
Yeah, it was an Academy Award winner, won the Academy Award for animated short. So that's really awesome. And it's great. It's fantastic. And when we get to the end of the episode, I'm sure I'll have more to say about it. But I had no idea. And when I watched it, I remembered it was very much in the vein of Disney shorts, and it was on the air constantly. I remember that being on the air quite a bit. But yeah,
You remember it being on the air a lot?
Yeah, I remember being there was a lot of shorts. If I mean, my memory could be wrong, but there was a lot of shorts on Disney Channel. I
Yeah,
just remember it being in that round of shorts. There was a lot of Chip and Dale shorts too.
you gotta be careful how you say Chippendale.
Chip and Dale. I will
Yes,
enunciate better. Yeah, there
thank
you
you, I
go.
appreciate it. So you picked this because of Mr. Sir John Cena. Has he been knighted yet?
You know, honestly, he probably should be the world record for most Make a Wish granted. Genuinely a good guy. I've had the pleasure to meet John Cena. I haven't had the pleasure to work with him or his dad. His dad is all around the New England independent wrestling scene. That's my bona fides. I am a trained professional wrestler. I grew up in the wrestling business. Turned 18 years old. I trained in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I wrestled a grand total of one actual match because not really great in the ring, but I could talk. So I've been involved in professional wrestling for most of my life, and got a chance to meet John Cena before a show in Philadelphia. My buddy tried his best to insult him, and John took it like the most earnest compliment, and I was so impressed with him and was a fan from that day forward. Just seems like a genuinely good guy, and I think he's a better actor than Dwayne.
Did you just insult Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
I did. I did actually. Out of the three from his era, which is called the Ruthless Aggression era, John Cena, Dave Batista, and Dwayne. I think Dwayne's the worst actor of the group, and I don't think it's close. Yeah, yeah.
I don't believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now, buddy.
I'm saying what I'm
Um,
saying.
no, and when you said when we were talking about this and and then you wanting to see it, I started
Mhm.
thinking of this. I started thinking when they're pitching this movie and they're like, look, we are doing a movie about Ferdinand the Bull, and
Mhm.
somebody would go, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm maybe interested, and they're like, okay, let me put your fears to rest. We have secured as our lead John Cena.
I mean, wouldn't Dwayne Johnson be the better choice? The dude has a giant bull tattoo.
Yeah,
Um, his brand for Under Armour has that bull logo. It just feels like a swing and a miss, and some just baffling voice choices in this. Kate McKinnon, I,
she needs work, buddy. She needs work. She
I mean,
heard the
she
job
did
was
then. I
attached,
don't,
and she said,
I
"I'm
don't think she
in."
does now, but yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, this movie was 2017. This is when this came out. And I think we mentioned that before. By the way, Dawn is in chat, and she is just very upset with you and your analysis of Mr. The Rock.
I stand by it. Dave Batista, I will. Dave Batista will win an Academy Award.
I
100%
mean,
Dave Batista will win an
this is
Academy Award.
now immortalized on
Yeah,
YouTube. So,
I
uh, okay.
I said what I said, and I mean it. His turn in Knives Out is fantastic. I've heard he's really great in Knock at the Cabin.
He was. He
And
was. I will give you that. He was.
Cena in Peacemaker is so good. He's done a lot of other stuff. He's done comedy. He's done some raunchy comedies. He's just been really consistent. And Dwayne's just Dwayne.
See, I will give you that. I think Batista has range,
Yep.
and maybe it's just like we associate him most with Drax because that's the one we've seen the most,
Yeah.
and he's like a goofball. But I don't know that John Cena has range.
I think he does. I think he does. I actually think
Okay.
his performance in this is one of the really bright spots. He gives a very emotion filled performance for a script that is. He is. This script is taking wild, wild big swings for no reason at all. This is a movie ultimately about a bull that chooses peace. And man, does this movie try and say some things that it is in no position to say at all in any way, shape, or form. And I think Cena does a really great job. I think he draws the most out of that character. It was believable. It was sweet. He, to me, was the funniest and had the best deliveries. So I think he did a good job. And I think the guy has range. I really do.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the animation because again, Blue Sky Studio, known
Mm.
for doing, as we've talked about, the Ice Age movies, which I think are pretty well done. I think that in general, I think the animation is pretty well done.
Oh, I'm going to
Um,
disagree.
well, okay. So
Yeah,
I guess I'm thinking of scenes like let me give you this one right here.
sure.
Um, I feel like the sky colors, the grass blades, like I feel like the background animation is pretty good. You disagree? You know what? I will tell you that I don't love the animation of the people because it
Yep.
feels very Despicable Me,
Yeah.
which is not
I
Blue
think
Sky, by the way.
I think it's really, really beautiful. They do a great job with color in this, but bring that back up,
No,
please. I'm sorry, that was so rude of me. Can you bring that
that
back
was
up,
that
please?
was
Yeah,
really
yeah, I
you've
know.
forgotten your place, sir.
Look how smooth everything is. Now, I didn't notice the blades of grass and the leaves, but all of the characters are incredibly smooth. Ferdinand smooth, even the buildings, which they're trying to show some um, wear and tear and a little bit of patina, it's still everything just looks smooth and polished. Um, I watched this and then I immediately watched the 7 minute Ferdinand short, and I was blown away at how much better they captured the atmosphere in the 7 minute short because it felt more alive. It wasn't this very, very polished, very, it's CG. Um, it's just everything looks like it has like a light gloss of like dew on it. It's not doing it for me.
Okay.
I will say
Uh,
I was blown away by the beauty. It's really a pretty film, but I don't like the animation.
there is a thing that they do sometimes in movies that are animated where they will cut away from the animation that we know and they'll start to show us a different kind of animation to show that we're in some other kind of a scene, that we are in a memory or that we are in the past or whatever. Um, what
We
do
need
you
to get
think
this
about that
taken down, man.
animation?
Oh, there's no audio. it's it's almost like that Vaseline on the lens kind of deal that they're trying to take you into that different world, and that's the animation way of doing it. Um, but yeah, the animation didn't click for me. And then I started running back a lot of the Blue Sky movies in my mind, and the only one that really stood out in terms of like, oh, this is Pixar level animation to me is Robots. I think Robots is a hidden gem in the Blue Sky library. It's fantastic.
I wouldn't disagree with it being a hidden gem, but I also think it's easier to animate robots um, than it is to animate like hay and earth and walls and metal and stucco and all that.
Okay, but take this and then take Sully, for example, and how you can see every fur on Sully's body. Take Merida's hair. Those kind of things. Like, why are these bulls smooth? It's just a very polished animation style that doesn't hit home for me.
So you would wish they were blue and furry? I'm just
I
trying
mean, I
to.
always wish things are blue and furry. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
Grover, Cookie Monster.
I mean, you can see some of that detail here in
A little
Guapo.
bit, yeah, I could see that a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah,
Well, okay. So we're kind of split. I thought it was a pretty
yeah,
movie. I thought that the animation was smooth. I do get what you're saying, but then also they take a very creative license. You make a decision that this world looks like this.
yes, yeah.
They do that in Disney movies with the princesses. This world looks like this. Strange World, this world looks like this. So I
Hmm.
think um,
When you make the choice, you gotta stick with
Yeah,
it.
Atlantis. The was it Mike Magnola that did the sketch art for the comic book artist that did the sketch art for Atlantis, I believe. So there was, it was a different look, but okay, yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, then.
All right.
I think, I mean, comparing it to Pixar, the Papa Bear of all animation, yeah, I agree with you. Um,
When do you think that DreamWorks and Illumination passed Blue Sky?
I think Blue Sky came after.
I'm talking about in terms of quality. Like, it was always Pixar was the standard bearer, and I think like Ice Age for a little bit, and that series kind of got Blue Sky. Robots, I do believe was critically well received, and then like we had DreamWorks and Illumination come in, and eventually it's a two horse race. I think even before the buyout, between Pixar and Illumination.
You think Illumination more than DreamWorks?
I have such a hard time determining the difference between the two. Like, there's
Shrek,
that new
Shrek, DreamWorks, and
yep,
Despicable Me, Illumination.
Illumination.
Yeah.
There's that new Kraken movie coming out. Is that DreamWorks? How to Train Your Dragon is DreamWorks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Ben. So yeah, I would think DreamWorks is a little bit ahead of Illumination, but Blue Sky just like fell off the ledge like a lemming.
And then they get bought out and then shut down. So you never have to worry about it. If these movies offend you,
Thank
sir.
goodness.
Yeah.
Although very
exactly.
sad, apparently it was a ton of jobs in Connecticut that were lost. I didn't know Blue Sky Studios was in Connecticut.
You could have grabbed you some voice work. I mean, they're always
I
looking
know.
for ex-wrestlers.
Oh, man, I would have been a great bull. I would have been a
Yeah.
fantastic bull.
So you were talking about the script. I think that that's definitely, to me, the weakest part of this entire thing is the script. It's so predictable. And again, they went off literally. We are literally off book in this movie. We are literally off book because we're not following the book here. We're doing all this weird stuff to fill 2 hours. And so when it starts out, and you see the calves, and they're like a new bull's going to get picked and they're excited. You kind of knew that Ferdinand's dad was going to be the one picked, and you kind of knew he wasn't coming back. And that it's like, okay, I'm just waiting for these things to happen now because you're not surprising me. You're not giving me anything different and new, and you're writing a new story. You could have gone anywhere with this.
I think it started off really strong, and then it just fell into the trope rut. It fell into, oh, we have to have this character do this. Oh, we need to shoehorn in 7 Pitbull songs, 8 Pitbull songs. I don't know. There was a lot. The Macarena, for some reason, multiple times. It was like the most out of touch person made this movie. And like, well, these are the jokes that work. Kids like butt sniffing jokes. Honestly, it was like Vince McMahon made it. It seems like his level of humor. But I thought it started off really strong. I love the scene with the cabs in the beginning, and yeah, you knew where it was going. You knew we were gonna Bambi this movie, and to me, Ferdinand has
always got to be
been
an absentee parent, man. You've
Yeah,
got to
you
kill a
can't-
parent early,
you can't
or
have
it's not going to work.
happiness.
It's not
Yeah.
going to work. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
To me, Ferdinand's always been about the flower. To me, like, the flower is that like symbol for him, and I thought they really played that off well in the beginning, and even in the last little bit. But man, it goes off the rails quickly.
But you don't think they lean too hard into the flower? Like, I get it.
I don't.
Like
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think in the book, it's a big thing in the book too.
it's kind of the only thing in the book, really, if you think about
it's a
it.
very short book. Here's what we're determining in this: it's really well suited for a 7-minute short. It is not suited for a 2-hour movie with a mid-credit scene setting up the Ferdinand cinematic universe.
All right. So I want to ask you this then.
Yeah.
When this is the first time you've seen this movie, right? Like watching it for this.
I don't think it is. I think I've watched it before. I did not recall it, but I feel like I've watched it before.
And you didn't hate it?
I don't remember. I feel like it was one of those homesick from school, threw it on school work and threw it on kind of things.
It was 2017, buddy. You can only get away with so much here.
Yeah. And I remembered the beginning really well, which is funny because that's the part I kind of like, and I don't recall much after that. The bull in the china shop gave me a really good laugh. Like a really good laugh.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one, dude.
What?
I know.
Oh, man.
Look. So first of all, we're talking about things being predictable. I mean, you just knew that was going to happen.
It's good.
No.
I'm not gonna get you on this one. This isn't gonna be like in Herbie where you convinced me I was wrong.
Yeah, you're trying to bulldog your way through some of this stuff. Here's the first flower. Like,
what a great shot.
Oh, so now we're on board with the animation. Great. Okay.
No,
cool.
No, I said
that's
this
what I heard.
movie is pretty. I don't think it's well animated. Things can be two things. That's why we have so much trouble in this world. Two things can be true at once. It could be very pretty, and I could appreciate the artistic quality of that shot, especially the way it's framed. Like, it's really framed nicely. And I can still say the animation was too smooth. It didn't really capture the essence of the area.
Things can be two things. All right, if you say so.
I want that on my tombstone. Things can be
things,
two things.
Things can be two things. You know what? He walks into the town and nobody seems to notice at first. Like some people are seeing him. That's true. But like, you know, he hides behind the balloons and nobody sees any of that. But as the movie is playing in that scene, so this is when he's all grown up and he's wandering into the town. And again, the flowers, so many of the flowers, but okay, sure.
It's a flower festival, Rob.
They didn't overplay it. They did. Yeah, I mean, come on, a flower festival of all things to do. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, so he's walking through the town, and every time he passes by like a doorway or something, I'm like, is this the China shop? There's gonna be a China shop. Where's the China shop? When's he walk into the China shop? And sure enough, as he's running away, he walks through a door, and they do that scene where they go whoop. It's a China shop.
I loved it. I really loved it. Do you know what the big problem with this is? Is they're acting like a bull is a shark on land. Like he's just gonna start devouring people.
I think part of the problem is if you're this lady, you shouldn't have this much china this close together in a shop. I mean, that's just bad product management. I think that's inventory problems is what she's got there. She
looked like the chess player from the Pixar short.
Jerry's Game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But you didn't think it was cheeseball that she puts down. Oh, and she licks the plate. Now I really want to buy that plate. She puts down the duster and then she picks up his tail as the duster.
Oh, it's completely cheeseball. Completely cheeseball.
But you loved it.
It was the right kind of cheese for me in that moment. It was like I wanted a Gouda. It gave me a Gouda.
Okay. All right. If you say so. Nico says it's a flower and garden festival. It sure is, buddy. It's a flower and garden festival.
There's too many sober people for it to be a flower and garden festival, though. Although,
who's playing their garden rocks? That's what I want to know.
Menudo?
Oh, if Menudo dice. So I'm again. Let's talk about the music for a second because you were complaining about my boy Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305.
Whoa, I'm not complaining about Pitbull.
You were putting
There's
down my man.
Too much Pitbull.
Oh, there's not. But see, that's the thing is there wasn't. There were only 2 Pitbull songs in this movie. There was There's Freedom, which was the original, and then there's the one in the garage when they're when they're playing when they crush the car. Yeah, there wasn't as much as you feel like there was. But also there are several songs from Mr. Nick Jonas in this one, and I'm
really?
like. Yeah, like Home, the one that they play at the end credits, that's Nick Jonas. And so again, I'm thinking they go and they say, "Hey, we're doing this movie, Nick. Great. John Cena is starring as a bull in a 2-hour adaptation of a 12-page book. I'm in. Say less. Say less.
I mean, they should have said more. They probably should have included some more things. But I imagine that's the check cleared and we're good.
The check cleared. Okay. All right. Yeah, there was also a gentleman named Juanez who did a song for the movie, and he's also a voice in the movie. So there's that. But
hold on, I think I know him. Let me see if it's the guy I think it is. It is not him. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
What we didn't hit off is Paco, played by Jared Carmichael, who is Ferdinand's brother. And for some reason, that relationship and the delivery of the line with the tail doesn't lie got me every time.
Gerard Carmichael, not Jared.
Gerard, sorry. Gerard.
I'm a huge fan of the Gerard Carmichael show. And I heard that voice, and I was like, I can't place this voice. Where is this voice? And when I had to read that it was Gerard Carmichael, and I went,
me too.
Really? Which again, I'm like, hey, we want you to voice a dog in this Ferdinand movie. I don't know. I just still feel like it was kind of a stretch to do that, but he's in it. And it doesn't sound right for me.
No, it
That the
doesn't.
voice
He
it
doesn't
doesn't.
sound right.
Yeah,
He
I
sounds
mean
like he's just delivering the lines like we are here. Like he has the same kind of setup. Now we have a pretty good setup. I got a professional mic. I got a screen. I got the ring light going. But like, I'm not doing a multi-million-dollar film here. I'm just out here on WDWNT.TV trying to entertain all of you wonderful Disney fans. And I never mail anything in. I'm not mailing it in here. Like it felt mailed in, but the relationship still got me.
yeah, okay. Um, well, so again, the way it works is that the movie opens up with them being calves. Everybody wants to be the fighting bull. His dad gets picked, and then doesn't ever come back. So again, we kind of knew that was going to happen. Um, but then when they move on to when he realizes that he needs to escape, that like he doesn't want to grow up and fight, and he doesn't want to be the a fighting bull. Then he finds a way to escape, and then he just brilliantly escaped. You could not have Ocean's 11 this better than he did, getting out and timing it perfectly to jump on the train. That's really the like like in some of the movies where like the dog can talk and it's like now we're going to be rich. Make some money off of this little calf who can jump onto a moving train, and like I don't know, it was magical.
You're saying like the circus life would have been okay for Ferdinand. He's a born performer.
Yes.
He's going to go out there and jump on trains.
Yeah.
I guess.
But before we get to that point, there the bull's fathers, Ferdinand's father and was it Valentine's father, played by Jeremy Sisto and Bobby Cannavale. And I'm like, did you kind of waste their talents here?
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, I guess again, cut the check, but that was I was like, wow, that's actually pretty impressive. Jeremy Sisto, I could sort of hear like I know this is a voice that I know, and I again had to look it up. Kate McKinnon I knew was in this, but as Lupe the goat, the therapy goat or the calming goat,
which is a real thing, but not for bulls. It's actually for horses. That horses are calmer if they have a goat in their barn.
Okay. And then like we're introduced later to the hedgehogs. Mm-hmm. That's a great cast. Quattro is Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, and Gina Rodriguez is Una, and I'm just like, okay, that's kind of neat that they're in there, but I don't think they get like big billing in there. But
and David Diggs is Dose.
Yes, that was pretty funny too.
Yeah. And then it's Peyton Manning as Guapo, David Tennant as Angus, which, by the way, if you're listening to David Tennant as Angus, there's a whole lot of Scrooge McDuck in that.
Yeah, there definitely is.
A waste of people that paid probably a large sum of money to do very little.
Yeah. David Tennant.
And of course I don't know how to say his name, but Flula?
Flula Borg. Yeah.
Flula Borg, yeah.
Yeah, that one, that was it. He's always that character. Doesn't really matter what it is. He's always that character.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was him or Nick Kroll. They both kind of sound the same when Nick Kroll.
Oh my God! So yes, so here he is. He's one of the bully horses, Hans. But that's a thing. That is definitely a thing where it felt like you were talking about Nick Kroll. I assume you meant from like Community, where they were the soccer guys and they came in,
and it's from the same thing. Sing, an Illumination joint.
Yeah, but the fact that it's just like the bullies, and that have like the the accent.
It was awful. Oh.
It was a weird plot twist, and again, I'm saying this is almost 2 hours long. You could have cut that. I didn't need that. There was
you could have cut so much.
I will lean into the horses did not need to exist in this one. You needed the hedgehogs to run the heist to get him out the second time. But you didn't need the horses, and you could have saved yourself so much time on that one. I guess they were trying to show the entire culture of of what it means to have a bullfight. Which
I
leads me to a
guess.
question, my friend. You have a child.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Has she watched this movie with you?
No. And she won't, because this is never gracing a television screen in my house ever again.
So no, wait, back. Oh,
Okay. All right, roll it
Dawn
back,
says
roll
we
it
don't
back.
speak of Trace. So Dawn, thank you for your commitment to watching this movie as well. But the snobby horse reminded me of the unicorns in Gravity Falls. She says so. But anyway, something that struck me is that this is a movie about bullfighting that comes out in 2017. Bullfighting, while still probably a thing that happens in Spain, is so archaic by our standards these days, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got, we're taking the animals out of the circus. We're trying to, be kinder, more, I don't know, more gentle humans with our
Mhm.
entertainment. And this is basically an old school Roman Colosseum style thing. And you've based an entire children's movie around it. That seems to me not a I get that Ferdinand's a classic book, but the chalkboard of we're gonna write a children's movie about bullfighting.
Okay. Here's the issue, and I'm going to swing it to you with a question. When does this movie take place?
Ooh, oh, that's a good
There's
question.
cars, so I know it's not that long ago, but like
Right.
it
You're
feels
saying it's
like it
not
should be
now.
longer ago. Yeah. Well, it's current contemporary music, and that always messes me up when so is this, you know,
Okay, all right. Back up a
yeah.
second. Then you just
Okay.
said current contemporary music. The Porsche in the garage
Hmm.
and playing the Pitbull music out of it, doesn't that kind of put it in today?
I think it does. Yeah. Yeah.
And the
So I
car,
think
his car, like the
yeah,
Porsche.
yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's the problem with what you're saying. Like, oh, we're making a kids movie, we're making it about bullfighting, and ultimately it's a movie about choosing peace and trying to choose your own destiny. And again, this movie has no right making the points that it thinks it's trying to make because it's bad. Um, but if you're talking about like this is like the 1800s, the 1700s, that's more revolutionary and that's more something that we can show our kids. We can be like, hey, this happened a long time ago, and you can even spin it. Ferdinand changed all that. He showed everyone that you don't have to fight and you can just sit and be peaceful and protect your flower. Yeah, yeah, I heard it when I said it. So we could have just moved on, Rob.
Nope,
You didn't need to
nope.
let it hang like
I
that,
needed to
man.
make it as awkward as possible,
Yeah,
so you're
awesome.
welcome.
I was hoping you didn't, but yeah,
Nope,
good on
I
you.
needed to. Yeah, it had
Okay,
to.
cool. Yeah, all right.
I missed you, buddy. I missed you. So then, because of that, I'm already thinking this is a little intense for that reason alone.
Hmm.
These bulls leave and don't come back. All that. Then
Yeah.
here comes the Chop House. We
Yeah.
have a children's movie where if you lose, they send you to slaughter.
Okay. I have two problems with this.
Just two?
I mean, the two kind of make up the whole thing. Number one, you wouldn't eat a bull that's trained like that, right? Like it's all muscly and sinewy. You that doesn't make good steaks. That's the first thing I thought as a terrible carnivore. And the second thing I thought is there has to be somewhere between those two. Either you go and die in the ring, or you go to the slaughterhouse. Like, isn't there? Hey, we need to make other bulls. They get put out to stud, put out to pasture. It felt like putting stakes where they're not putting stakes where there's not actually stakes because it didn't feel realistic. That doesn't feel like what would have happened, especially if we're saying that this movie is set in modern times.
Yeah, I agree with you. But speaking of steaks, when they
Mm,
put him Valentine in the in what is basically a meat wagon and he pulls off, you can see the steak cuts written on the back
yeah,
of this truck, and I'm just like,
too
this
much,
is
too
yeah,
too
and
too
again,
much.
and then they drive off to the like ominous like smokestack building on the hill, and then when they get in, they're like,
Yeah,
how are you explaining this to little kids? I mean, I guess I'm not saying I feel like we protect them from a lot of things and less things than we used to, but this is kind of awful.
Yeah. Um, Dawn doing our research for us. Bullfighting is still a thing, but I think it's significantly changed from what it used to be. I'm not positive, but I think there has been changes. I remember reading about that. Um, yeah, like it's. I don't think this is necessarily something I would need to protect my daughter from. Like she could watch this if she really wanted to, and I can explain it. It's not difficult for me to have a difficult conversation with my kid, but I think what you're saying is the reason that this movie exists is very thin and flimsy. It works a lot better as a book than seeing this, especially like the fight scene doesn't give us a lot of comedy in it. I expected a little bit more. It's played mostly serious. There's a couple comedy moments, but I mean, he gets slashed, and it's very interesting, very very
Yeah.
interesting for that.
Also, I liked this movie the first time I saw it when it was called Home on the Range.
Oh my god, it was giving off huge Home on the Range vibes.
Home
Huge.
on the Range, and there was a Nickelodeon Studios movie that came out called Barnyard that then became a TV show later, I believe.
I
Um,
remember
and
that.
and so I feel like that one I was kind of getting a little bit of that vibe as well from this one. But yeah. So did you spot in it? There were a couple things that I'm going to call references. Now, please
Oh
play
man.
along because I don't think they were
All right, all
references.
right.
Let's play along
Sure.
with me for a second here. The David Tennant character, the Scottish bull in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, crazy. I'm not sure I got any of the accents. The accents from place to place didn't seem to make any sense. I mean, I guess some of
No,
the characters, but yeah, the accents didn't seem to make any
no.
sense.
Yeah,
All
no.
right.
Not a lot of Spanish speaking people for a movie in Spain.
Yeah. Um, do you know where in this movie the Star Trek reference is?
Yeah, I'm a bull, not a doctor. The bull
Yes.
is named Bones, and yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Um,
also a David Tennant because he's the doctor,
right. But
and
also, yeah, but also Scotty and Scottish
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, uh huh,
Where is
no.
the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind reference?
Oh, is it one of the songs?
No,
No. Oh,
no.
I don't know. What do you Guardians of the
Well,
Galaxy Cosmic Rewrite reference?
Quattro, they say something about toast, and he goes toast, and then they say something about cake, and he goes cake, because he goes through the cake toast thing. It's not a real reference, but I was just like, really? That you're playing that joke again after it was in Ferdinand? Maybe just people assume it wasn't something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if
I
James
mean,
Gunn wrote
is
the
it
script for
outside the
that.
realm of possibility that no one's actually seen this movie?
Possible. It is possible, I guess. Also, I forget when it was, but I feel like there was sort of a Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway reference.
I mean, it can't reference things that didn't exist, Rob.
I
You
know.
know how that
That's what I'm
works,
saying.
right?
I said play along with me. I set
Oh,
this up from the
I
beginning.
didn't know we were going straight to Delusion Town. I didn't know that's where we were headed. All
All
right, go
right.
ahead. What's
He just
Mickey and
he
Minnie's
just
Runaway?
they said nothing can stop us now. It's fine.
Yeah, I
All
figured
right.
that was what it was going to
So
be.
again,
Yeah,
thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the
yeah.
like. And now Patrick would like to answer some actual trivia questions.
No, I do
Um,
not. I do
yeah,
not
yeah,
want to
you do,
answer
you do.
any of
You picked
those.
this movie.
Or
You picked this movie. You picked this
no,
movie.
because I
You
just
picked this
got
movie.
I just got
You picked this
really
movie.
mad. I just got really mad
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start
because
off. They're gonna be easy.
okay,
What is the name of the ranch where?
Casa del Toro.
Yes, I told you I was gonna start easy.
Yeah.
Um, the on Nina's nightstand, there's something sitting on her nightstand. Do you know what it is?
No. What is it?
It's a wooden bowl.
Oh, okay. I noticed there was a poster I like motioning like against her wall. I was trying to figure out if that was a reference to something, but it was nothing that I could figure out.
Oh, I was gonna
So
ask you
used to
what that
Pixar.
poster. I was gonna ask you what that poster said.
I don't remember. It was a word in Spanish, and I'm not recalling it.
Oh, you're gonna love it when I tell you because that was one of my questions. But here you can see off to the side where her nightlight is, the wooden bull, and it's there when he's little, and then it's there when he's big again.
Yeah.
So the poster,
Flores. It says Flores. Yep.
which is
Flowers.
right. That's what I'm
Flowers.
saying. Like, yes, it is. I just
Come
thought they
on,
leaned
it's
into
the
it way too
theme.
hard. Yeah, I get it. Okay, it's a little smack you in the face-ish for me, but that's fine.
Okay.
Um, I feel like you probably looked this up recently during this show, but what was her dad's name?
Nope. Juan?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the artist who performs one of the songs in this voices that character, and his name is Juanes. I assume
Yep.
that's how you pronounce it. Juan with an es on the end. When they measured Nina, how tall was she in meters?
3 meters.
Is it meters? A meter is a yard,
I
right?
don't. I have no idea, man. Measurement is not my strong suit.
Never mind.
That scene was stupid. It was very stupid.
Yeah, it actually wasn't how tall she was. It was how old she was. She was 8. Um,
Uh,
the dancing flower. What song did it play?
Macarena.
And what color was the guitar it was holding?
Blue? I felt like there was always a lot of blue in those shots.
It was red.
No.
And so here's the last one that I feel like is super easy for you, if you'd like it. Here it is. It's what was El Primero's license plate number?
Oh, wow. I did not pay attention to that at all.
Oh,
I know
see,
I usually look for
normally,
numbers.
I was about to
Yeah.
say normally I wouldn't go there with you because again I know you usually
Yeah.
look for them. Like the bus that they were riding on was like when all the bulls got on the bulls bus was
Yeah, no.
217. Um,
Yeah, this one had me so far in my own thoughts that nothing stuck in terms of like the trivial stuff.
okay. It was Dawn Dawn put it in chat. So
Oh
it was and
god,
she and
that's
it's
awful.
exactly. It was
Awful.
Olay.
Ugh. Everyone should
Yay!
be ashamed. Is trivia over? Can I tell you why I'm mad now? Or is there more trivia coming?
Nope, we're done, buddy. We're done. We're
All
in the
right.
home stretch here. You tell me why you're mad.
So
I
I was like, hey, let me check out the writers of this movie to see if they're actually bad at their jobs or just didn't have a ton to work with. First credited is Robert L. Baird, and he wrote Big Hero 6. And also worked on Tangled Ever After, Prep and Landing, my favorite.
Oh, love Prep and Landing.
Yeah. Tim Federle worked on High School Musical, the series. And Ferdinand. So Ferdinand was his first thing, and he continued to get work after that, which is shocking. And then Brad Copeland, who wrote Spies in Disguise as well, Yogi Bear, but also wrote 3 episodes of My Name Is Earl, and 6 episodes of Arrested Development, 19 episodes of Grounded for Life, 1 episode of News Radio, all really great shows. But he also wrote Wild Hogs. So
Wait, though, back up a second. Did you say he also wrote Yogi Bear, like the live action
Yep.
Yogi Bear with T.J. Miller?
Yep. 2010.
How is that a good track record? I don't know.
Oh, that's not. I was going
Okay.
bad, and then I saw a bunch of good,
Oh, gotcha.
and back to bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So I mean, relatively talented people made this movie on all fronts, and oh boy,
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a dumb question.
sure.
And maybe you noticed something that I didn't, but this drove me nuts for basically the entire movie.
Mhm.
How did Nina know that his name was Ferdinand? Because I even went
Maybe
back and looked to see, like, was
she
he
just named
tagged
him
or did he?
Ferdinand.
No, because they call him Ferdinand.
Maybe there was a story of Ferdinand the Bull on the loose, and they decided they were harboring a fugitive. I mean, it would be a big news story if a bull got loose from like a prestigious bullery.
Normally, when there's a lost pet in a movie, they give it a new name or something like that, and either that's the name it
Yeah,
has moving
that
forward.
felt like it would have worked better.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna call you Stitch,
yeah,
like something
yeah,
like that. But in this one, I'm like, how did she know? Because there's a scene when he's little and she's written his name on her wall, and I'm
yeah.
just like, how did you get this information that his name is Ferdinand? Which to me is a sort of a big plot hole, and it
I
doesn't
mean,
need to be, and it's kind of stupid. Um, so when this movie ends, and we really haven't given much away in this movie, and I'm just kind of trying to just deal with the movie and our feelings in general here, and not run through the plot like we do usually.
feelings. There's a lot of
But
feelings going on.
there are a
Yeah.
lot of feelings. There are a lot of feelings. Here's the other question that I have, and a Google search might have found this for me, but I figure if I had you on, I would just
Hmm.
ask you.
Sure.
In the bullfight, the crowd whistles and waves a white flag because they don't want El Primero to kill Ferdinand. Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, like in tennis, you'll whistle if you disagree with something. So I could imagine how that could be a thing. I don't know if the crowd for a bullfight would all come with white flags, but I know whistling is a way to show displeasure.
Well, and one of the women, kind of jumps up and is like, no, like spare him, and then the whistling is
Hmm.
happening, and everybody's looking around, and
Yeah.
more whistling, and then Lupe coughs up a whistle somehow, and then whistles. That was just a weird character, and I
She
think Kate
also ate a
McKinnon.
sardine can, and she was very excited about that.
I
And I
feel
don't
like she
know why that existed.
I feel like she played the character okay because she was supposed to be playing kind of like a crazy goat. Normally, the goats are reserved for old coots, like some old coot is the goat, but this one
I
was a
mean, it
little bit
should
of a
just
different
be
take.
Alan Tudyk, right? It should all goats should be Alan Tudyk. Let's just put that in writing. I don't think she did a good job. This is funny that we both dislike this movie and are finding wildly different reasons why. And I just think she sounds like Kate McKinnon. That's actually my big complaint for everyone except for Cena because he managed to lose me a little bit in his role. And I thought that was good, but everyone else just sounded like themselves. And honestly, I'm a big Kate McKinnon fan. And this performance is when people are like, oh, I don't like Kate McKinnon. This is something that they can point to because it was very much that frantic kind of crazy goat performance.
That is funny. You're like, this is funny. I'm like, it wasn't funny, and I'm like, the animation's good, and you're like, it wasn't good. And you're like, John Cena is everything. I'm like, John Cena's the same in this as he is and everything else. And then I say Kate McKinnon, and you're like, no, thank you. So yeah, we're pretty. But the one thing that we are pretty standard on is like, why? Just why?
Yeah,
Just why?
yeah.
There's so much IP out there. Why? Make a third Rio. Make a second Robots. Why this?
Seriously.
And
Do you know
even
what the
Spies in
budget for this
Disguise.
movie was?
Tell me.
$111 million.
Which is actually kind of cheap for an animated movie in 2017.
Yeah. Opening weekend took in 13 mil. Somehow, and I imagine this is on John Cena's power, his star power. It grossed almost 300 million worldwide. Only 84 million in the US and Canada, so does not break even in the US and Canada, but
Well,
is able to pull that in worldwide.
my understanding though is whatever the initial budget is, it has to make that back in the
The opening
states
weekend, pretty much.
domestically,
Yeah.
or they don't get anything.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they have an estimate. So even if you only spent 110 million on it, you have estimated you're going to make 220 million on it. If it comes in at 83, you've not lost just the just the $20 million, $27 million. You've actually lost whatever the 100 and whatever on that. So because
Well,
they build that into their estimates when they're forecasting how much they're going to make on these things.
and I'm gonna compare this to one of my favorite movies that please go back and watch. It's actually on the main feed. So go to our WDWNT feed and check out my episode where I talk about one of my favorite movies, John Carter. Is they John Cartered this movie a little bit because it was, hold on, let me see if I can get it here. It was supposed to open uh, on July of 2017, got pushed back to December 22nd, 2017. and then was released on December 15th, 2017, the same day as The Force Awakens. Oh no, excuse me, The Last Jedi. Pardon me, The Last Jedi. Why would you put this up against a Star Wars movie unless you wanted it to fail?
Yeah. Dawn is calling me out because she said, "Why would you want more sequels rather than original IP?" This is not original necessarily IP because it's off of a book, but I just feel
I would
like,
want more sequels. I mean, Rio's
yeah,
dumb, and I would still get more Rio.
that I think that
Another
was the
Angry
point that
Birds, maybe.
yeah, that was kind of the point I was trying to make. I'm not saying that I
No.
would necessarily want that stuff, but I would like it better than this. And if you're going to do something original, that would be great. But it's like it almost seems weird calling this Ferdinand, as except for the flowers in the face, and and the bullfighting. That's pretty much it, right?
I feel like that's about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the 7 minute short is amazing.
Okay.
It's
Before,
so good.
but before we get to the 7 minute short, because I want you to talk about that
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
I do feel like this had a Disney ending. It had
Yeah,
that
I can see
very
that.
happy, we figured out a way, we did it, we saved the day. He's not going to be a trophy on the wall like everything else. Hugs,
Yeah.
and of course, raining flowers. Of course, you had to have the raining flowers because flowers. Um,
I mean, this is like, flowers are Isabella's thing in Encanto, and there's a ton of flowers everywhere there. Like, it's a theme. I'm sorry you don't like the flowers I got you, Rob, but it's still part of the movie.
I
Um,
just, uh, I just think it's like we get it, but I mean that I get that that's his thing, but like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's too much of his thing in your mind. I can see that.
Yes.
It could be too much of something.
Talk about the
Um,
short.
oh, so immediately after I turned this off and checked to see if there was a mid-credit scene and learned that it was just spoiler for this 2017 movie that is never getting a sequel. Trace is alive. Of the four hedgehogs, Trace is alive. Um, I was blown away by that 7 minute short. It felt very true to the book. It was absolutely beautiful. Hey, look, there's flowers there too, Rob. And I feel like it looked so much more authentic to the place that it was supposed to take place. And it lost me in the animation versus just kind of beating me over the head with the fact that this is a CGI, very polished image. Um, really, really loved it. You have 7 minutes. I mean, yes, you can go and check this out, and I highly recommend you go check out this 7 minute short.
Well, and this was 2 years after the book came out,
Yeah,
which means like you were saying that it's very true to the book. I mean, it was right after the book came out.
yeah.
So and it goes, yeah. I mean, it basically is true to the book. But the one thing that I notice about it is how much does this look like the castle in Paris? Like
Oh wow,
the
I didn't even. Yeah, with the little
I
flying
mean, like,
buttresses too.
and the
Yeah,
mountain, the like the grassy knolls and things
the
like that. I
greenery
mean,
around it.
as soon as that popped up, I was like, holy moly, is that where they got the inspiration? I mean, they talked about how they had gone through and found all these castles of Europe and made like this sort
Yeah,
of dream castle. I think they just took it from here. I think they just turned it around, put an extra turret on it, and called it a day because it looks very similar
love that
to me.
castle. It's such a
Yeah,
good
to that.
castle.
Yes. All right. Is there anything else we were supposed to talk about with this that we didn't before you pass final judgment, which will surely be not shocking at all tonight?
Why would you get a famous combat athlete and then make his whole thing that he doesn't fight? There was Adam Devine was originally pitched for this, and honestly, I think it's a better movie with him in it. Even though I like seeing his performance, I think it's a better movie with him in it because I'm not thinking about the fact that he should be hitting an attitude adjustment on another bull, or if this is a wrestler, why isn't it The Rock? The Rock loves bulls. It's his whole shtick. He has bulls everywhere. So I don't know. I just guess they were looking for a starring vehicle for him and put him in this.
Okay. By the way, it's just there's an embarrassment of extras on Disney
Yeah,
Plus with this one. If you want to see this 2 minute promo release, it's on there. So thank goodness
it's
they
a lot
went.
of flowers in that, Rob. You sure you're gonna?
Dude, we're gonna have a conversation about these flowers later, but I mean, what? I'm trying to like make a comparison in my head of like if it was the Pirates of the Caribbean movie and they said yo ho, a pirate's life for me every 7 seconds. That's what this feels like to me. Like we get it, it was from this original thing, but the flowers are just constant, and it's like give us a little bit of credit, just a little bit of credit, that you don't have to constantly remind us that the way this is
Uh,
going to end is with the flower.
you know what's really, really on point for what you just said? This movie does not think we're smart at all.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
like,
Like
here's
it was
the point,
predictable, and then yeah,
and we're gonna just keep beating you over the head. Also, like I said, we're gonna try and make points that this movie should not be trying to make about nonviolence and everybody has a place. It was, oh god, it just felt the most heavy-handed,
yeah.
except for the flowers, which were wonderful.
Hey, I have a question for the chat for those of you watching live, because we're gonna do we don't we're working out what shows we're gonna do coming up. But one thing I would like to do with Indiana Jones coming out on June 30th, Dial of Destiny, I would like to do a review of an Indiana Jones movie. And so my question to the chat would be: do we do the original Raiders of the Lost Ark? Do we do the Last Crusade, because I think it's arguably probably the best one? Or do we do Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because it was the last one before this, and it's very problematic. So like I would love to hear in the chat what you guys think. If you, and I'm not going to do a poll on this one like we do in Park Center, but Desi said young Indiana Jones. No one
Heck
said that.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Uh,
lot to watch, though.
Crusade, not Crystal Skull. Okay, so one vote for not Crystal Skull from Dawn. It's like, for the love of God, not Crystal Skull. I mean,
I have to
Crusade would
rewatch
be,
that. I have to rewatch that. I
yeah. I
I
mean, you need
don't
to,
actually mind Nuke the Fridge. I really
but
don't.
but if just for the fact that we're, I mean, theoretically, timeline wise, this is the one after,
Two for not
not
Crystal
not
Skull.
Crystal Skull. This is timeline wise right before Dial of Destiny, so it
Yeah.
feels like when I go
And a
back
character
and
is just
a
gonna
new movie.
mysteriously disappear and
Yeah,
never be mentioned ever
that's what I
again.
was gonna say. Is we want to see how badly this is retconned, right? We want to be able to see exactly how badly they went in
They're
and just
gonna
went, nope, that
uh,
never happened. Let's just erase that
making
one.
another Simpsons reference. They're gonna Poochie Mutt. They're just gonna be like, and Mutt died on the way back to his home planet.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, Nico says Last Crusade, no question. Uh,
I this is crazy because I am a huge Last Crusade fan. In my mind, I don't know if it's the best movie. I think Raiders is probably the best movie. But Last Crusade is far and away my favorite, and I think it is the most rewatchable. So I thought I was really alone in that. I'm also a big Back to the Future 3 person, so I don't know if those are connected in any way. But I love Last Crusade.
okay. Well, I mean, I feel like bring on Connery. Okay, yeah, I feel like that's the one we'll do. So we'll pick a Wednesday coming up, and we'll do Last Crusade as a precursor for everyone getting stoked and excited about Dial of Destiny. So Last Crusade will be the one, and we'll talk about what we think about that one. So that's down the road. I want to say a special shout out to our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. If you are not a member, please join our family at patreon.com/WDWNT. Don't forget that we had Park Center last Sunday. Go back and watch that. Mr. Patrick Hackett made his triumphant return for Park Center. We had a lot of fun on that one, and so did Allison. Allison from Original Park Center was on last week. So if you miss Allison, go back and watch that one. And then also Shannon was on with us, which was awesome. So we had a lot of fun on that one. And then Disney Entertainment News Today just dropped yesterday. And of course, tomorrow is another News Tonight. And then we will not have a Park Center this coming Sunday, but then we'll be back on a roll after that. Any other things that we missed, Patrick? I think we're good, right? We're ready for you to make it
let's
official.
lay down the judgment.
We need
on
to make
this
it
film.
official. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You ready? Okay, so we watched the movie. at your behest. We watched the movie,
I'm sorry.
and and we researched it and we talked about it, and now it's time, Mr. Patrick Hackett. Would you recommend this movie?
Why isn't this part of the content being removed to get a $1.5 billion write down? Do not watch this. Just don't. See if you can delete it off of Disney Plus. I don't know if there's a secret button. Just try. Everyone do me a favor and try to delete this. No one should have to watch this. Thankfully, not many people in the United States and Canada have. Worldwide, there's a big Ferdinand market or a big John Cena market. Watch the 7-minute short, though. I was blown away at how good that was. This Academy Award winning short. But yeah, don't watch this, Rob. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought it might have been a closet winner.
Well, when you say don't watch this, it's too late, buddy. You made me watch it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I honestly, I like to like things, and I do, and there are times where I will talk about things and say that's not as bad as you think it is, and yet in this case, it wasn't awful, but it just didn't seem like it had a purpose. I didn't like that. I mean, there were some elements of the original story, the beasting and the bullfighting, and of course the flowers. But I just felt it was kind of insulting to your intelligence. I feel like there's better stuff. There's a whole litany of stuff that I haven't even watched yet on Disney Plus, like Ron's Gone Wrong. I'd be interested in watching that one. Going back to some others and rewatching them again. But for this one, I wouldn't recommend it. And it's very, very rare that I'll do that. I might even throw a caveat on, but I don't see me ever watching this again. And I think you said the same thing. You're like, your daughter didn't watch it, and surely she won't because it'll never be on. There's too many good things. Your time is valuable. Yeah. Your time is valuable, yes. And there's too many good things to watch. And so, therefore, Patrick and I have suffered through this for you, and we've decided you shouldn't bother. But if you do decide to bother, or you know what, it could be that this is your favorite movie, and if it is, I don't mean to insult that. And a lot of times it's all timing. It's nostalgia. It's when you watched it. It's who you watched it with, and maybe it meant something to you. Maybe you're John Cena, and that's why it means something to you. But I don't think John.
I did
Cena
tag him on
I did
post? Tag him on Instagram to see.
So he's
if
probably
he would
watching.
Watch it with us.
He's probably watching.
I mean,
and it's not him.
Not.
It's I think it's the writing. I think it's in general. As I'm watching it, I'm just like, it's formulaic. It's exactly what I thought it would be. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't give me anything new. Even though they've added 1 hour and 50 minutes to the original story. And Patrick, you said this to me in text form today. Like, why couldn't we have just watched the Disney short?
It did it in 7 minutes what this movie failed to do in 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
7 minutes told a better story.
Yeah. You said did you know there's Walt Disney's Ferdinand the Bull on there? And I was like, yeah, I knew that was there. You're like, I'll watch it. Why do I always get the bad movies? Because you picked this one. You picked this one. When you and I did Civil War, and you and I are of like minds on John Carter being underrated. So I feel like there are some things that you go and you get the right one, but I don't know, man. But thank you for being on, because as always, I always appreciate sitting and chatting with you, buddy. And
always, it's the best
thanks
time.
for doing this.
It's a good time.
Yeah,
we should do it watching a better movie.
Well, I mean, maybe come back for Last Crusade.
I'd love Last Crusade. Any reason to watch that? And honestly, I would probably rewatch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just because.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, thank you guys again so much for watching and being with us tonight. Please tell a friend, give us a like, and come back and see us next Wednesday night for more Deep in the Plus, and keep watching all the great stuff on WDWNT TV. We work hard to put it out there. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Ferdinand if you watched it, and we will see you next time. Have a great week.